Today in this video about what is value at risk, or more commonly known as VaR. So we are going to talk about what we mean when we talk about value at risk. What does it mean in terms of financial risk? Methods of calculation. We are going to talk about the three methods that we use to calculate VaR, and then we're going to talk about some limitations of the concept. So we'll quickly start with what is value at risk or VaR. Okay. When we talk about VaR, what we are basically doing is we are looking for an answer to a question, and that question goes: how much loss, how much can you lose with the given probability over a given time horizon? So basically, your question is how much
can
with a given probability over a given time horizon. So this is the question for which we're looking for an answer when we are trying to find out what VaR is for a specific portfolio or a company, right? So if we break this question down, there are three aspects to it. One is the time horizon, right? The time horizon. The second one is your given probability, right? Probability. And the third one is your loss. How much can I lose? So basically, your loss, right? So basically, what a VAR does is it tells you how much you can lose with a given probability over a given time horizon, right? Your now time horizon can be 1 day, it can be 10 days, can be 365 days, etc. Okay. And your probability, it could be 95%, 99%, 99.9%, right? So basically it's with this probability that we want. It's basically, when we say probability, we mean with this much assurance or confidence I can say that over a period of X days, let's say 10 days, your VAR will not be more than Y amount, right? So I can say that with 90%, 95% probability. That means 5% somewhere I could be wrong, but the 95% of the times I am 100% sure that this is what I'm going to get, right? And your loss is again your amount, let's say Y. So this is your Y is basically the monetary loss that we're talking about, right? So these are your three aspects to a VAR, right? And let me give you an example. For example, let's say 1 day, this is an example, 1 day 99% VAR. I'm sorry for my writing. um, is let's say $5 million. So what we're saying is, in 1 day there we can say with 99% of confidence that we will not lose more than 5%, $5 million, right? So it is also the maximum amount within that confidence, within that with that probability that we can lose in that specific period of time, that is in this case 1 day. Okay. um we can also I can also help you understand this with the help of a bell curve. So this is my bell curve. For all of you those who don't know what a bell curve is, I am going to create another video where I'll talk about the normal curve or the bell curve. But for those who know, on for the sake of this video, you can just follow with what I'm saying. So this is your bell curve, and basically this is your mu is basically nothing but mean. Okay, mean of your distribution. Now let's say this is a distribution of portfolio of returns. Okay, portfolio of returns. Right now, to calculate, so when we talk about VaR, what we are concerned with is the worst possible, right? So what we are going to consider now is the tail risk. Tail risk, because let's say we are taking 95% confidence, right? So so here your confidence is 95%, or your probability. So here we are concerned with the bottom 5% of the tail risk, that is the left hand side, that is this. So let's say, let me just, okay, this is your 5%, and this remainder is your 95%. Okay, so your 95% observations will lie here in the in the bigger part of the bell curve, and the left tail, which is your left tail, this is going to be your left tail. So this is where your risk will lie. Right now, what VAR tells you is that what will be your loss beyond a certain, it will tell you beyond a point, that it will tell you that after this point, um for 95% of the cases, a maximum loss could be at this point. Let's say, let me just put this point as x, or y as we used before. So here your y is your cutoff point. So y is nothing but your VAR, right? That is the maximum amount you will lose in that period, whatever period you're considering, with a 95% confidence, right? Let's say we use confidence, let's say we use 99% confidence in this case. So let me draw another bell curve. Okay, now again, this is your mu, this is your mu mean, right? This is the same portfolio of returns. Here your confidence interval is 99%, right? So here we are going to take this point. This will be your 99% cutoff. So what we are now concerned with is this value. Okay. Now we are concerned with this value y dash. Y dash is nothing but your cutoff point at 99%, beyond which you're likely to face losses more than y dash. But before 99%, you will not face losses more than y dash. And this y dash is nothing but your value at risk. So this is your 99%, right? So you will, so in case, the majority of the case, 99% of the time, you will not lose more than your y dash amount, which could be anything. Like I said in the previous example, it could be $5 million, like in this case, 5 million. So and the time horizon is 1 day. So in 1 day, you will not lose more than 99%. More than in You will not lose more than 5 million in 99% confidence interval. Okay. Now I will quickly talk about the methods to calculate VAR. Okay. So methods to calculate VAR. So I'm not going to deep dive into these methods, but I'm just going to mention them, and eventually I'm going to create more videos where I'm going to deep dive into each of these methods, so that you can understand, and you can take it forward from there. So historical simulation is the first method. Okay. This is basically nothing but using your historical data to calculate VAR. Then there is delta normal, or we also call it as variance covariance. And then there the other method is Monte Carlo simulation. Okay. Here are three methods. Now I'll just talk about the two limitations of VAR And these are very important because if you're appearing for a risk management interview, or you're appearing for your FRM exam, or even for CFA level 1, these questions can sometimes be asked. The first limitation is that, so it does not VAR does not predict beyond the cutoff. And secondly, assumes normal markets. So these are the two limitations. Firstly, it does not predict. So what happens beyond that cutoff point does not tell you about that. And secondly, it does not tell you about. It's about um, it says that your returns and your markets are normally distributed, which in real life scenario is not the case, as we know. So these are two limitations, and these are very major limitations for value at risk. So that is it for today's video. If there are any questions, anything you want me to help expand on, please suggest in the comments. Anything you like, please share, subscribe. Anything I can do better, please let me know. Thank you so much. Bye bye.